Hello, my name is Bogna Grazyna. I got the invitation from the University of Applied Science to participate as a panelist for this wonderful conference, but currently I'm not in Germany. I'm in an artist residency here in Portugal, but at least I have the opportunity to leave a message about social art and social design. So I'm a Polish-German freelance artist based in Berlin since over 20 years, but I'm active in different places all around the world. My career is very diverse, so I'm glad to introduce you about my activities, which are quite different. After graduation, I again started to study actually stage design, which is my professional career since 2015. So as a stage designer, I collaborated or worked for different theaters and operas like the Staatsoper Berlin, the Komische Oper Berlin, also the Volksbühne in Berlin. But since I had the theoretical education, I also worked as a dramaturg in the Volkstheater in Rostock and as a stage designer in different other theaters in East Germany like Leipzig and Dresden. Second, I'm an installation artist, which means in my case I'm interested in creating installations in public spaces. I'm always interested in finding materials or shapes to interact with the people all around. Third, I'm a lecturer in art and in different art schools, and I give workshops and classes, different activities since more than 10 years already. So besides the professional activities I'm following since 2015, I was invited 2011, so a few years before that, to participate as an artist in an international project. It was grounded, or it was founded by a movement of hip-hop education. But in those days, social art as a term was not really present, or it was more connected to cultural education. However, for me personally, I started to explore those kind of activities and develop my own art practice, which is always based on interactive arts. So 2011, I was invited to a school in South India for teenagers from a Dalit community, which is the lowest community in the caste system. I developed a workshop on design thinking in a very simple way of observing nature and what kind of patterns and what kind of structures you can discover to implement it in your own design. The students developed beautiful sculptures, a mixture from classical stone carving with attaching hardware pieces from computers with what they were working. 2015, I was again invited to participate in a different place in South India. This place was called Village Action. So Village Action is already an entity existing, and the women are learning small skills to earn their own money. And I was invited to work on the topic of violence. I developed a huge installation with 365 bamboo stick, most of them with individual message from the women themselves who are not losing face participating in that project. It created a very strong dynamic during or inside the community itself. The beautiful aspect is that we started with 15 people, and after a week we were over 200. With this project afterwards, I even had the opportunity to give a TEDx talk and also won the Social Art Award. That's the reason why I'm connected to this conference. 2017, I was again invited to participate in a group project in South Africa. I was working with homeless people. Since our project was meant to be displayed in a gallery in the end, I realized that this place is actually not giving access to homeless people. So this topic, actually, access and how to grant access, was the key source of inspiration for this project. 2020, I was starting a project in Indonesia, in Bali, with a cooperation with a school completely built of bamboo, a sustainable concept how to create education in a natural environment. That was the reason why they often had workshops together with rice farmers, which are cultivating the land around the school. So I was planning to create installations in the rice paddies, honoring the work of the rice farmer. So from youth that has actually less access to education, to women that encounter violence, up to homeless people and farmers, or the lack of farmers growing food, the group I'm working with can be very, very different. For me, the personal artistic approach, or the approaches that is interesting for me, is also the intensity of question, how you can change, how you can create change. Now I'm also on a personal challenge of wanting to create an association after all those single projects. I also am looking to transform my own idea into leveraging and reaching more people on a sustainable long-term level. So I'm creating with other creatives worldwide right now an association that will be based on this kind of idea for a long term. Since the main topic of this conference today is resilience, I was asking myself how to approach actually this term, since it's a nowadays very fancy term, I think, and we all have different understandings about that. My main approach to work in the field of social art is actually to meet and collaborate with vulnerable groups. And how do you make people that are actually not very visible in society or have a lack of presence and voice, how do you make them visible again, but without losing their face, which is the key in my personal work with the tools of arts. So resilience means, for me, it's the first step, creating a connection between different people from this group. So how do you create intrinsic motivation for the group to work with? How do you create a leverage that is becoming a factor that the project is becoming also their project and not just mine? Those questions are not so easy to answer instantly. It's something you have to find. It's something that gives the motivation to everyone to show and to share your story. It's something maybe you want to express, but you don't know how. And I, for instance, do it with an installation in public space where you can leave a kind of personal little fracture in a very big scale that is kind of being merged with the messages of others. So that's the reason how you can speak up, show up, and be anonymous and not losing face at the same time. But everyone has to find his own approach.